Today I got a BGS grade return, and I want to point something out. Most of these grades I already know, except for the bottom 3, which are the more important ones. The reason why, in the past couple weeks, I had 2 submissions where it was like small amounts of cards. It was 3 and 3. And the second batch of 3 just showed up today. And I didn't initially do a video on the first 3 because I was just going to wait to just kind of do it all together, if that makes sense. I probably should just send them all together, to be honest. But I was on my way out to Japan, and I wanted to have some stuff sent over while I was gone. And then that way I don't have to think about what are these cards going to get graded, you know? But first, I got to show you something cool. This is the most expensive card I've ever bought my entire life. I know what you're thinking. What Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh card is it? It's not a Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh card. What sports card is it? I don't collect sports cards. Then what is it? It is a Weiss Schwarz card. But not just any Weiss Schwarz card. It's the Weiss Schwarz card. The Ephemeral Existence Mai in English. This card actually has an insane story. For starters, I absolutely love Bunny Girl Senpai. I think it's a fantastic series. If you haven't checked it out, highly recommend it. On top of that, there's a new movie coming out later this year. This card is what I consider the perfect storm in the TCG world. For starters, they can no longer do signatures in these cards anymore because of licensing issues. When they reprint these cards, if you guys remember from before, I don't have one next to me, they now do stamps. So Weiss Schwarz are known for the signatures. Basically, they stamp the signature of the voice actors and actresses, and then they kind of release it on like specific cards, and people go crazy for them. They can no longer do signature cards for Bunny Girl Senpai for whatever reason, other than it's a licensing thing. That's one thing. Number 2, what happened with this card is actually insane. In 2019, when the set came out, they accidentally released this card twice. I believe this is the actual trial deck card. Yeah, this is a trial deck card. That's what TD stands for. Trial deck in Weiss Schwarz are basically starter decks or structure decks. If you buy, let's say, 40 of those boxes, one of those 40 will have like a special art card inserted instead of like a normal card. This is where that card comes from. But this is where the issue happened. When they released the booster boxes with the set, they accidentally released this card inside a set instead of a specific card. And basically what Weiss Schwarz told people, they were like, hey, if you pull this out of the booster boxes, you can trade it in, we'll give you a booster box, and we'll give you the corrected card. Now at the time, it was a good deal. It was the equivalent of basically pulling Blastoise and the Pokemon company saying, hey, if you pull Blastoise, we'll trade you Charizard for it. So everybody did it. And because of it, they ended up killing the supply of this card greatly. All the cards that got sent to Weiss Schwarz basically got destroyed, and they don't exist anymore. So yeah, this is one of the rarest cards you can get in Weiss Schwarz other than trophy cards. This is like one of the most highly sought after cards in the entire hobby. And when I got my opportunity to get my hands on one, I absolutely jumped in on that. So Agent DMG, thank you for the deal. Again, the most expensive card I ever bought, but I do not regret a single thing. Again, I love this character. I think the anime is great, and as a collector of Weiss Schwarz card, this was like the card you want to get. Speaking of Agent DMG, this is not the only card I got from him in the past couple of weeks. Prior to going to my Japan trip, I actually obtained something else, which I don't know if I ever showed off in the video, so I'm going to show it off just in case. We got this right here. Look at that. A BGS 10 Pharaoh Rare Magnificent Maven Dark Magician Girl. So this is a funny story. So if you guys remember a while back, I graded 3 of the 10 Dark Magician Girls as 10s. Remember, all 3 came back in one video, and I was shocked. And one of those I resubmitted for review, and they got approved as a black label, which is still insane to me to this day. It's the only black label Dark Magician Girl that exists out of every DMG card that's ever come out. So anyways, I own 1 black label and then 2 10s for the 10 set. Agent DMG owned 2 of these. So I messaged him a while back, and I was like, why don't we just do a trade? I'll give you one of my 10 DMGs, and then you give me yours, and I'll pay the difference, because this is obviously a much more valuable card. And it was like, yeah, it's a good deal. Why not? So we can both own it. So yeah, I got my hands on this, and I do not regret it. Again, the Pharaoh Rare cards are amazing. On top of that, I think this is the perfect storm once again. The Pharaoh Rare cards are insanely hard to get. And on top of that, is like, what, 25 in the actual set, which is crazy. So pulling the right one is insane. And as someone who's opened so many of those boxes and hasn't pulled like any of them, actually, I take that back. I pulled the Blue Eyes once and was absolutely damaged. And I pulled Gravekeeper's Trap. That's it, out of like, I want to say 100 boxes. I gave up trying to pull these because it wasn't worth it. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. All right, now for the actual cards I've gotten in the past couple weeks. So for starters, I don't know if I showed you this, but this is Albedo from Overlord, again, Weiss Schwarz. People always say, oh, this is Overlord TCG. No, this is all Weiss Schwarz. They just own all these different IPs you can play. And if there's any anime you watch, I'm sure there's a chance that they have a TCG under Weiss Schwarz. This is the card I tried to find while I was in Japan. As you can see, it's got that signature that I showed off with the Mai as well. And I found it one time. And the one time I found it was like a giant ding in the corner. So what I did is at the time when I was a couple of days into Japan, I was like, screw it, let's see if there's anything on eBay. And there happened to be one listed at the time. They listed for a lot, but I offered like a reasonable price and they accepted, and I don't regret it. So even though I didn't technically buy this in Japan, I bought this while in Japan just through eBay. So I don't know, kind of counts as a memory of that amazing trip. They actually just announced the English release for Volume 2, which I believe is sometime in September or August. And I'm definitely going to go after this card when that set comes out, because Albedo is an amazing character. By the way, I marathoned the hell out of Overlord last night. Like, I've seen it before, but I never finished it. So I watched the entirety of like Season 1 last night. I'm going to start Season 2 right after this video. Okay, so now we got some reviews. So again, the bottom 3 are the ones I got today, and I kind of want to show you everything I got in the past couple weeks. For starters, I bought this as a 9.5 back in, I want to say February or March. It was very cheap because, again, when it comes down to white shorts, it's funny. 9.5s are incredibly unpopular is due to the fact that they're always grade 10s. It's kind of like the redheaded stepchild that nobody wants for some reason. So what I tend to do is I always buy 9.5s because, one, you should always buy the card, not the grade. And a lot of times it's misgraded, meaning that they were kind of super harsh on it for whatever reason. So I found this as a 9.5 for super cheap, and I was like, this looks great. So what did I do? I sent the slab in and reviewed it, and now it's a 10. That's just how it works. So yeah, if you have a card that has no visible damage, and I want that to be clear, the reason why I say no visible damage is you're not going to get like a card that's going to get upped easily. For example, look at this Charizard I have. Look in the back, it's absolutely beat up. If you have a card where it has visible damage, they're not going to upgrade it. They're a lot more fair with it when it comes down to reviewing their cards. Kind of want that to be very, very clear, because a lot of times people will just resubmit a card, hope to get bumped up, even though it's like visible damage all over it. But yeah, so I bought the 9.5, came back as a 10. I think it's a pop 4 as a black label, and a pop 5 as a 10. Super high, super low pop, 21 total, I want to say, last time I checked. And with Itsuki being my favorite character from the series, I have all of them as 10s now, so I'm super excited about that. Next one, we got this Blue Eyes from the World Championship, the celebration at the tournament. That's before it used to be a 9. I remember it was this and the Dark Magician from the same like envelope that I sent in. This got bumped down. Originally, this was a 10-10, 9.5, 9.5. And instead of getting it reviewed, I cracked it out because I want to see what happens. And I cracked this 9 out as well to see what happens. And when it came back, this was bumped up to a 9.5 quad. And this was bumped down just barely a little bit. What's funny is I was confused why they didn't want to bump it up to a 10. Now, I don't have the piece of paper anymore, which you'll see with the new batch down here, because I'm an idiot and I got rid of them by accident. I actually had them all saved for this specific video, and then I must have thrown it away. But yeah, they point out where the errors are, or where like the flaws are. And with this specifically, it's right there. If I remember correctly, this specific card had 2. It had this little ding right there in the middle, and over here. This is my situation where I should have looked at the card and been like, yeah, this is not going to get bumped up. And I guess I wasn't paying attention, and I submitted like an idiot. Yeah, same thing with this. I believe this one has like 4 not as visible flaws, if that makes sense. This one was like blatant. Like, you can look at it from a naked eye. With this one, I couldn't tell. Again, if I had a piece of paper, I can show you where the flaws are. But hey, it was bumped up to 9.5 quad at least prior to this. It wasn't this last batch, but before. This is like months ago. I have a video of it somewhere actually on the channel. But yeah. Okay, anyways. Here's what's interesting. Let me actually make sure I don't see these grades over here. Along with this batch, I sent this in. This had a minimum grade of 10. Now here's what's weird about, I guess, reviewing cards. When you send a card in, you can tell them what minimum grade you want. For example, if I get this card reviewed, if I want it to be kind of like, if 10 is my target, I'm going to say minimum grade 10. This card's minimum grade was 10, but it got re-slabbed. And it didn't just get re-slabbed, it got upped, which had me kind of confused. They didn't have to do that. I don't understand why they did that. Initially, the grade for this card was 9.5, 9.5, 9.5, 9. It was like one of those 9.5s that will never ever cross anything after that. But for whatever reason, they must have looked over the card and been like, actually, this should be higher. From my understanding right now, there's no pop. There's 0 pops for 10s for the Unlimited Dark Magician Girl from Magician's Force. In first edition, I believe it's pop 1, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it was really strange to me that they chose to upgrade to a quad after that review, despite my minimum review being 10. I don't know, it's weird. Now, again, with one of these cards, unlike the Dark Magician, the Dark Magician girl is really, really clean. And with it being a 9.5 quad, you can send us to PSA, and PSA will be like, yeah, this is a PSA 10 now. I'm gonna keep it as a 9.5 quad just because, again, I like the BGS slabs way more than the PSA ones. But I find it really interesting that they decided to upgrade this. It just had me confused. So I don't know. Okay, now we're in unknown territory. And I see that, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. These are all Weiss Schwarz cards, obviously. And looks like this got declined. This is a card I sent separately to grade. So you can see what I'm talking about when you review cards. I guess let's look at this first. This should be, I think this is the Mai. It is! Yo! That has me excited. So, story with this card. I bought this and another card from the same seller months ago. And one of those cards came back a black, actually it was 3 cards, it was 3 cards. One card came back a black label, and the second card came back an 8.5 just because there was a lot of damage on the back. And I remember at the time thinking, I was like, damn, how did I not pay attention? Looking back at it, the seller had shown that on the pictures. I just missed it because I must have just been excited when I bought it. I bought this card a couple of weeks later from the same seller, and I remember it was very, very clean. It came back a BGS 10 on the first try. Like, it was just super clean. But again, sometimes when I get BGS 10s back, I look at the card and I'm like, let's just see what happens if we review it. So I sent this in with a batch of 2 other cards. The black label. If I recall correctly, this should be like a pop 10, pop 11. Pop 10, or for BGS 10, it should be maybe like 20, 30 cards. A black label, this is crazy. Again, this is the same character that you saw here. So that's fire. What a dope video. We got the PSA 10 Ephemeral Existence Mai, and now we got the Strange Incidents Mai as well as a black label, and I'm super excited about this. This is, again, see, notice how I said they lost the rights for signatures. Now they come with these stamps. So in this set, which came out in 2022, instead of having the signature of the voice actress, they just put a stamped set of the actual series or movie, and then that's it. That's basically their equivalent of like, this is our rare hits of the set. Not as cool as the signature. If it was, this card would be insane. But I'm still excited. This is like one of the first cards I saw for Mai when I got into Weiss Schwarz that made me go, I need this card now. Super excited about that. I'm hyped. Yo. That makes me wonder, like, if BGS was just more fair with their black labels to begin with, you shouldn't have to pay twice to get them graded. That's a whole other conversation to have. Okay. All right, but now let's actually see what happened here. So this is the promo Itsuki. Yeah, dude. First of all, I love how good the promo cards are in Weiss Schwarz. This is like low-key better than most of the actual SP cards that exist for quintessential quintuplets. So I bought this a while back, and I remember it looked pretty good. 10, 10, 9, 5, 9. I was like, this is like pretty close to getting a 10. It looks like there's something I missed. Oh, I was like, where is it? I was like, I don't see it. They left it out. So they have a bunch. Oh, no. Oh, yep. I see it. How did I miss that? I got to be more observant with these cards. I think Weiss Schwarz makes me a bit more lazy to look for flaws because a lot of times it's very rare to find them. But yeah, there they are. Now, what's interesting is they only pointed that out. So that centering should be a 10. Otherwise, they would have an arrow saying it's off center to the left or right or up and down. So that's funny. That is funny. But yeah, look at that. So this is something that's cool about reviews. I think PSA does it as well. But when you review a card, which honestly, they should just give you these sheets to begin with. When you review a card, you can see where the actual issues are. I feel like the only reason why they don't give you these originally is because they know they can make extra money because people like me will resubmit the card. All right, not mad about that. You know, 9.5 is still cool. I think it's still like pop 4 total with 110 and 3 9.5s. And 2 9.5s I own. Okay, our final card is 9.5. Centering. So, okay, for starters, let me show you something real fast. So, notice how the signature in this is silver and here it's gold. So what they do when they reprint cards in Weiss Schwarz, instead of having a gold signature, they'll have silver. That way, like, the original release is still special. So this is the re-release that we have from a couple of weeks ago. I did a whole opening on this. I pulled this, I think, out of the first box, out of the entire booster case. And a case has 3 SPs you can pull, and this is my chase card. Honestly, what's confusing about this is I remember I compared it to a 10. And it was not off center at all. Interesting. They probably knew that I submit stuff for reviews all the time, so they're like, yeah, we can just get double the money from him. And you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna resend it in. What? But why is it off center? Like, come on, that should be a 10. Look at that, 10, 10, 9. If my camera could focus, that'd be great. But yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna review it. I'm gonna see what they say. But that should have been a 10, that's all I'm saying. I just know that it's a black label I compared it to, and the centering was flawless. Flawless. I don't know how out of focus my camera is in this entire video. I just know I keep tapping on my screen every couple seconds. Yeah. So anyways, I'm gonna end the video right here. My voice is starting to die. I need to get some food, but I wanted to kind of show off some of the stuff that I got. As far as openings, I should be doing stuff for Scarlet and Violet. I don't really know if I'm going to do. Definitely gonna hop into the Yu-Gi-Oh! 25th anniversary stuff because I got some cases pre-ordered for that. So stay tuned for that. But as far as everything else, we're just kind of going with the flow. There's gonna be a lot of Weiss Schwartz stuff coming out in the near future because again, the art on these cards is amazing. By the way, also highly recommend Overlord. Series is great. Series is fantastic. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully sooner than later. Peace.